Hello and welcome to my channel. I've got another little story for today, very different from yesterday's. It's more of a love story, this. And the 5 words that this story is based on, as ever, are below. And this one is called Mad Aunt Betty. No, it's not. It's called Mad Aunt Bessie. Bessie was Victoria's favourite auntie, with 8 to choose from. But she had made it her mission in life to embarrass the 15-year-old Vicky in as many ways as possible. Bessie was approaching 70, but had recently discovered the joys of social media, which proved invaluable in keeping up with her 6 siblings in different cities and continents, and her growing brood. Vicky assumed she was Bessie's favourite niece too, especially as Vicky had the decency to live only a few streets away in Manchester's Joly range. Bessie had actually been an early adopter of Facebook back in 2007, so she'd shown Vicky the ropes on that one. But recently Bessie had discovered Instagram, Snapchat and TikTok, had added Vicky as a friend on all 3, and it was all getting a bit much. Bessie had become a minor celebrity by 2012 with her Tales from the Allotment YouTube page, wherein she expounded on homemade pesticides, the right time to pick a marrow, just before it got big enough to carve out and live inside, and the right of a woman to have her own private tool shed. Half of these videos, which boasted up to 10,000 viewers, whereas Vicky's beauty channel had collected just 1,326 subscribers, would degenerate into comic diatribes against her allotment neighbour, Mr. Sharma, who she claimed kept hiding her tools and pinching her plums. She actually used that phrase. To wit, "The runner beans are coming up a treat, but I can't get the pesky grubs off the cauliflowers. I've given up weeding this week as my knees, they're just not what they used to be. Back when I was a young sprout, I used to do the most unlikely yoga positions, would you believe? Lotus position, crouches, flying buttresses. I can't do them now, of course, even if I wanted to. Plus him over there," here she would hook a thumb towards Mr. Sharma's plot, "is always watching, like a right-nosy Parker pervert. Said I was a green goddess, would you believe? As if you'd see me in lycra. That said, it would make doing this a lot easier." At this point, while Vicky and her friends peered between their fingers in mortification, Bessie would put not 1, not 2, but 3 plastic hoops around her waist and keep them gyrating for a good 3 minutes. When Bessie discovered TikTok, she became an overnight sensation for her hoopla antics, as she called them. Vicky and the girls had to admit she was quite a mover for a woman born just after the war. Lately, Bessie had calmed down a bit and discovered a strange new hobby to keep her busy in the shed. She discovered it on holiday in Vietnam, apparently. On those frustratingly wet spring mornings, Bessie would sit with a brush made from a single horsehair and paint people's birthdays onto grains of rice. It took huge concentration and many failed attempts, but Bessie would eventually mark her numeric tributes onto each grain and then encase them in a transparent plastic substance which hardened when heated. She'd make pendants and bracelets out of them. Vicky was wearing one such pendant as she flicked onto her aunt's YouTube channel one dull Sunday afternoon. She hadn't checked in for a few weeks, as she'd been busy revising for exams and flirting with Callum Lockhart on Snapchat. "Unbelievable!" Vicky gave out a shriek when she saw Bessie sitting on a deck chair in front of her shed. Not unusual in itself, for that was her favourite spot. What was remarkable was who she was sharing it with. Bald-pated, round-bellied Mr. Sharma in his sensible slacks and moth-eaten cardigan, his hand entwined with Bessie's. What in the world was going on? Vicky had a good mind to rush over there on her bike or call up some of her friends to tune in as witnesses to something that surely could not be happening. Once the video had stopped buffering and actually played, Vicky saw that Mr. Sharma was leaning forward doing the talking. The old duffer seemed to have something in his eye. There I was, on my wife's birthday, crying like a baby. Well, it was only 3 years since she passed. Bessie here hears me behind the shed and asks what's up. I was surprised. I thought she considered me a bit of a nuisance, to be honest. Here Bessie rolled her eyes, then raised her eyebrows in a knowing way. A week later, she presents me with this, he continued. Mr. Sharma, Rajiv as Vicky was to come to know him, lifted a pendant from the neck of his cardigan and dangled it towards the lens. A date could just about be made out in Bessie's spidery miniature rice writing. Mr. Sharma sat back down heavily, grasping Bessie's hand again. It has my wife's birthday on it. What other woman would write a widow's birthday on her man's present? Who else would understand what that meant? He turned to Bessie. You don't mind me calling me your man, do you? Here Bessie grabbed his face with both hands and kissed him. Vicky turned and shouted for Mum to come and witness the miracle. Soon Vicky, her 12-year-old brother Chris and Mum Cynthia were craning around the iPad together. As if all they'd seen so far wasn't enough, Bessie now untucked her blouse from the waistband of her jeans to reveal her midriff. Gross! Exclaimed Chris, while his mum swiped his shoulder. Vicky thought her eyes would pop out of her head. Bessie had a pierced belly button with Indian-looking jewellery in it. She was blushing and looking embarrassed and proud at the same time. Look what I went and done. Him and me are just crazy, aren't we? Crazy in love. What Chris and Vicky would learn soon enough, what single mum Cynthia could never forget, was one simple truth, as offered up by Mad Aunt Bessie. Love makes teenagers of us all. Yeah, it's a bit more Alan Bennett than Joseph Wombo today, but that's the magic of random words. I do mean to get around to doing that video about why I'm doing this and what it all means and what I've discovered, and that will come up soon, maybe tomorrow. But for now, thanks for listening. Please do the thing, and see you soon.